Gladiators of the Cage getting ready to rock Stage AE Saturday, March 15th in the Battle of the Baddest. The main event, Dominic the Honey Badger Mazzana takes on Cody No Love Garbrandt. Tickets at Ticketmaster or the Stage AE box office.
Let's go! Welcome to the Cage Nation. Welcome to the Cage Nation. Welcome to the Cage Nation. No one can drop us, no one can stop us. We are the warriors, no one can top us, no one can rock us. We are the warriors, no one can drop us, no one can stop us. We are the warriors, no one can top us, no one can rock us. We are the warriors.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, get out your wallets. It's time to get ready for this weekend's, I'd say, the hottest card of the Pittsburgh area. We got some...
Do I owe you money?
No, I want you to take whatever's in that wallet and get ready to support Gladiators of the Cage. Drew, this month, in the month of March, we have two extremely huge fight cards in Pittsburgh. The first of which being Gladiators of the Cage, North Shore's Rise to Power 4, which we're going to talk about today.
Right.
And then 2 weeks from, we're going to have the Pinnacle FC Pittsburgh Fight Challenge Series 6. Today, ladies and gentlemen, like how I was about to start to say tonight, but I started to say today. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're telling you everything you need to know about Gladiators of the Cage, North Shore's Rise to Power 4. Why did I have you get out your wallet?
Yeah.
Well,
why do I have to get my wallet out?
Well, you don't have to get your wallet out. I'm talking to the Cage Nation. They need to get their wallets out.
Why do they need to get their wallets out?
Because, Drew, the hottest fight card in all of Pittsburgh, I don't want them to miss it. Like, I feel like we do a service by letting them know where the great fight cards are. And this...
Can I put my wallet back?
You can put your wallet back.
Thank you.
I'm told that the card is being close to sold out. Tickets are becoming very, very scarce, but that's okay. Because...
well, then they should get their wallets out and buy some tickets.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's also going to be on iPay-per-view.
They could get their wallets out and they could buy it on the computer.
Exactly.
Oh.
And we got the information right there where you can buy that at pay-per-view. So, of course, preference is be there in person. Because, I mean, Gladiators of the Cage is certainly a fight card you don't want to miss in person.
Oh, my God. And you guys aren't going to have to worry about the weather this weekend either, because we've checked. Gonna be good.
All roads are leading to Pittsburgh. If you can't be in person, which, as a tragedy in and of itself, the iPay-per-views are $10.
Right.
$10 for an amazing fight card from the comfort of your own living room. There is no reason why you should be missing Gladiators of the Cage's North Shore's Rise to Power.
He's excited. I'm excited.
Well, you figure we've been to, 3 Gladiators of the Cage events now?
Have I been to
North Shore's Rise to Power 2.
Yes.
You guys were Road to Glory 5.
Yes.
And then we were all at North Shore's Rise to Power 3.
Yes. So I've been to 3, you've been to 2.
But in those cards, have we ever been disappointed by Gladiators of the Cage?
I don't think I've ever been disappointed with Gladiators of the Cage.
No. And there's a lot
I've not been disappointed with the Pittsburgh fight scene at all.
Period.
There's
a lot of information from North Shore's Rise to Power 2 that is incredibly important. North Shore's Rise to Power 3 that is incredibly important to 4. We're going to take some time. We're going to tell you about the top mount.
You need to take a moment. Yeah.
I need to calm down. We're going to tell you about the top mount, and when we get back, we're diving headlong into Gladiators of the Cage's North Shore's Rise to Power 4.
It's all coming up next. Cage Nation TV. Stick around.
Don't worry about remote signal blockage again. Introducing the Top Mount. This low-profile shelf is perfect for placing your cable box where you can use it. The easy-to-install lightweight shelf is designed to fit behind almost any flat screen TV, with or without a wall mount. The Top Mount is perfect for easy access to cable boxes, game consoles, and DVD players. Don't have your signal blocked again. Order your Top Mount today at thetopmount.com.
Welcome back to this special edition of Cage Nation TV.
I'm your elected official, Albert Cameron. Beside me, as always,
I'm the leader of the Yes Movement. Well, of the State College chapter of the Yes Movement, Drew Shannon.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it now.
Nope.
Drew, Gladiators of the Cage's North Shore's Rise to Power 3, I think, was probably one of the best fight cards we've ever been present for.
And it left us wanting more, my friend.
Oh, you're not even kidding. And we're going to talk about that main event that has been built up over, since November.
Right.
We've been talking about this main event since November. Ladies and gentlemen, the time is now here. March 15th, Gladiators of the Cage's North Shore's Rise to Power, Stage AE. It's going down. But in order to get to the main event, of course, you got to have the undercard, Drew.
Exactly.
And we want to preface, there's a lot of great guys fighting on that card. And unfortunately, there's just some information that we don't have. So anyone we're talking about is not a better fighter than anyone else. It's just the information available to us. We're pulling a lot of information from what we've seen in Pittsburgh, what we've seen in Altoona, and we're bringing that happy medium. So guys from Altoona, you need to get to Pittsburgh. Guys from Pittsburgh, when you see the guys from Altoona, you guys are going to have that bond already because we do that on Cage Nation TV.
You're damn right we do.
Absolutely. So
our next fight on the card. Let's see, Brandon Lux and Mark Lieback.
Don't know much about Mark Lieback other than he's got a perfect record of 1-0-0. Fights out of Team AMS with Donnie Bard, Matthew Flock, Jason the Whip Willett. A lot of great guys training out of Team AMS. Brandon Lux. I think we got a lot more history with Brandon Lux than a lot of people realize. Complete Devastation MMA 7. Matthew Maney was supposed to fight Caleb Dobosh.
Right.
For one reason or another, that fight never happened. Brandon Lux had a teammate fighting on the card Maggie O'Neill. The first ever women's fight in the center region.
Exactly.
Maggie O'Neill and Brandon Lux trained out of Team Damage Inc. in Johnstown. Brandon Lux steps forward on like 12 hours notice, I think, and says, I'll fight Caleb Dobosh. Brandon B. Lux versus Caleb Costa Dobosh was a barn burner of an opening fight. So the next time we see Brandon Lux was at Valley Fight League 40 in January.
Okay.
It was 40. He fights Scott Athey. Now, I've never had an opportunity to talk to Scott Athey, and frankly, Scott, if you could clear this up for us, I'd greatly appreciate it, because, I mean, it's driving me nuts. Brandon Lux fights Scott Athey. Scott Athey does not throw a single strike in that fight. Not one. Brandon Lux starts throwing some flashy kicks. He's clearly getting frustrated. Brandon Lux wins that fight because Athey's corner threw in the towel.
I remember that.
Yeah. So...
because we were sitting there going, what are you doing? Fight!
I mean, we weren't even there in any sort of, like, official capacity. Like, we weren't even there representing the MMA Rundown. We were just there because 1059 Quick Rock had, I won tickets.
Yeah, you won tickets.
I won tickets. Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. Yeah, but we kind of did cover it for the MMA Rundown.
But it never made to air.
I thought it did.
Footage never made to air. Because we couldn't get the camera formats to work.
A little behind the scenes.
Yeah. So anyway, we got Matt Lieback, who trains at Team AMS, one of Pittsburgh's finest schools.
Right.
And we got Brandon Lux, who, I mean, we've got a lot of history with B-Lux. This is another one of those fights I'm really looking forward to come together, because how often do you see middleweights fight? I mean, we have plenty of experience with lighter weights.
Let's just say it, what we're thinking. And we said it before, Gladiators of the Cage and the Pittsburgh fighting scene has never disappointed us.
Exactly.
So every fight, I'm looking forward to.
Well,
I mean, these guys know how to put a card together.
Pennsylvania, as a fight state, has a really unique kind of scene to it. We see lighter fighters for days. I think we've got more bantamweights, featherweights, and lightweights than we really know what to do with.
Right.
Brett Schoenfeld and Zach Goebel are the rare, like, welterweight cases. I can't tell you how many other middleweights I've ever seen fight other than Brandon Lux and Matt Lieback. I mean, we just don't have middleweights. That is one of the part of the. That's where we're really lacking in talent, is middleweight, and especially light heavyweight. I can't tell you that I've ever seen a light heavyweight fight in the Keystone State. And I mean, I've seen a lot of fights here in Pennsylvania.
Right.
I can't tell you if I've ever seen one at light heavyweight. Yeah.
Well, let's go back in the archives.
Yeah. So, I mean, what that says is Brandon Lux, only weighing 185 pounds, is going to look so much bigger than a lot of the guys on the card.
Right.
He's going to have that natural appearance. I mean, because Zach Goebel, he looked big against Brett Schoenfeld.
Bad news at 11.
So now Brandon Lux is going to be coming in, and I can't imagine Matt Lieback's going to be Mark Lieback.
Mark Lieback.
Mark Lieback's going to be coming in on the fight well trained. Jason Willett knows how to get his guys ready. Of course, Damage Inc. has never disappointed as well.
Well, it's going to be an unbelievable fight. Let's go to our next one. And a ladies' bout at that. Someone that we know pretty well.
I'd say.
I wouldn't say too well.
Yeah, I mean.
She and I have had a couple of conversations on Facebook briefly, but, our Jamie Chesney taking on Christina Moore in a ladies' bout. And Jamie Chesney, so far, not coming up on the side of victory as of late. 0-2 thus far.
I will say that, but the fights she's lost were not disappointments.
No.
Jamie of course, Jamie Chesney's claim to fame in my eyes is...
Let's get to that.
Jamie Chesney's claim to fame in my eyes is she fought Jessica Richmond in the first female fight in a metropolitan area in Pennsylvania. That was her and Jessica Richmond.
Okay, not only that, if I recall correctly, Jamie Chesney may have lost the fight, but she also split the woman's
Jessica Richmond's nose was broken vertically.
Yeah, vertical break on Jessica Richmond's nose, unbelievable.
Absolutely. So
the girls got a fire.
Oh, absolutely. And if that break would have happened earlier in the first or the second,
it would have been done.
The judges would have stopped it. Because we see a lot of blood. We're like, okay, where's Jamie bleeding? We realize Jamie's not bleeding.
Right.
Jessica is.
Right.
So despite getting the loss, the fights she has lost have not been disappointments, and I think she's going to do absolutely fantastic.
All right, now Christina Moore.
Christina Moore is debuting.
So we don't really have much information to go on.
No, other than she fights at Dean Smith's dojo. They're going to be fighting at bantamweight, the same weight class as Ronda Rousey. So if we could get Jamie Chesney in the cage with Ronda Rousey, I'm just saying, I think she could take Ronda a couple rounds.
Are you doing that just to suck up to Jamie?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I love you, Jamie.
I watched her break a woman's nose the worst way possible. She clearly has got talent with her fists. I don't want on the business end of that.
No, you don't want on the business end.
No, neither do you.
No. That's why I'm not kissing her ass when I say, Jamie, we love you.
I had a professor
we talked to Jamie after the fight in our first trip to Gladiators of the Cage. Awesome girl.
I had a business professor tell me
why we didn't go have drinks with her afterwards. I don't know.
We had a 3-hour ride back to State College.
But her husband probably would have kicked my ass. But anyway,
I forget where I was going with that, but
I'm sorry.
That's all right. So Jamie Chesney fights out of the Pittsburgh Fight Club.
Yes.
Which a lot of really, really tough guys train out of Pittsburgh Fight Club. I
have noticed, by the way, on Facebook that she has been training quite a bit. She has been preparing for this fight, so she's going to be ready come this Saturday.
Well, the Keystone State does two things very, very well. One, our amateurs know how to fight.
Right.
Our amateurs always come hungry. I can't tell you if I've ever been disappointed by an amateur, except for maybe one. And Brandon Lux took care of that one for me. Two, we do women's MMA incredibly, incredibly well.
Yes, we do.
And so this fight has winner written all over it, regardless of who wins or loses. Women's MMA, if you've not seen it, especially in Pittsburgh, or you've not seen it in Pennsylvania, this fight is certainly one to be like, hey, remember that fight with Jamie Chesney? How great was it? And Christina Moore did a great job debuting.
Right.
So
all right. Well, We're looking forward to that fight. Of course, Jamie Chesney again taking on Christina Moore, who is debuting at Gladiators of the Cage, North Shore's Rise to Power 4.
I remember my anecdote. I had a business professor tell me once.
Yes.
90% of all business is knowing which ass is the right ass to kiss. I can't tell that at all, so I just kiss them all.
That explains a lot.
Yeah. Now this fight drill. This fight has damn written all over it.
Our next fight, not only that, but it's kind of poetic.
Sakuda versus Kukuda?
Yes.
Yeah. Kind of rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
It sounds a little bit like a Disney song from The Lion King.
Absolutely. So we got Jeremy Sakuda versus Dan Kukuda.
And I hope Dan doesn't kick my ass for saying that.
He might. I
hope not. Dan,
we'll tell you why he might here in a second.
Dan, I love you, man.
Yeah. Jeremy Sakuda.
It's my turn to kiss ass.
Jeremy Sakuda, we saw him fight on North Shore's Rise to Power 2.
Yes.
He trains out of 3 elements of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He is teammates with 2 other guys that we've seen fight. The first one being Desmond Carroll, who fought Kyle Dunmeyer at Complete Devastation MMA 7. Yes, 7. Yes. The one that Gathers and Saltzman headlined.
Yes.
Okay. So Desmond Carroll fought Kyle Dunmeyer, and then Charlie the Madman Gathers fought Brandon Soku Sailor at WCC 6. So Jeremy Sakuda, 3 elements of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, clearly has a great reputation for training guys who do what they do in the cage very, very well. Jeremy Sakuda is not a disappointment whatsoever. This fight will be fought at middleweight, so I just got done talking about how Brandon Lux is one of those rare middleweights. Well, now we got another middleweight bout.
Exactly.
All right. He's taking on a very, very dangerous man by the name of Dan Kukuda. Last time we saw Dan Kukuda fight, I think, we were really, really amazed at how dynamic of a fighter he was. Mm-hmm. He had cage presence like nobody's business. He was using the cage to get himself into positions to his benefit and really kind of left his opponent guessing. That's not even the most impressive thing. The impressive thing was Dan Kikuta broke his hand off of his opponent's skull.
Yes, that's right.
Broke his hand off of his opponent's skull and kept hitting him in the face with those hands. I mean, we were there.
Well, if you're good at doing something, just keep on doing it, you know. But consequences be damned.
You were right there with me. I mean, at no point did Dan Kikuta give any sort of indication that his hand was hurt. No. He just kept hitting with it. He was so calm. He was so dynamic. Yep. He kept doing what he needed to do. So Cass and I are headed back to the men's room, and we catch the elevator with one of Dan's trainers. Mm-hmm. Apparently, Dan, the bone in the hand normally looks like this. His was broken. Right. But he kept using it as a weapon. That says how dangerous of a man that he really is, that he can fight through that kind of injury. A boxer's break is one of those breaks that one can lay up for a really long time, or two can end your career. Dan Kikuta's having none of it. So, Jeremy Sakuda, who has a really, really good pedigree, we already know that. Mm-hmm. We got Dan Kikuta, who is a very, very good striker, but still knows the ground game. I can say that Gladiators of the Cage has never disappointed me, and I can continue to say it until I'm blue in the face. This is another one of those fights where Albert Cameron's going to be on the edge of his seat, being like, what's going to happen next?
Sakuda, Kikuta, what a wonderful fight.
Now, see, that's why Dan's going to hit you.
Sakuda, Kikuta.
I mean, if the man keeps hitting in a fight...
This Saturday night.
You're fired, Drew.
It's at Stage E. That's in Pittsburgh, right?
Moving on. Okay.
I'm sorry.
If Dan Kikuta's going to keep hitting a man with a broken fist, imagine what he's going to do to you for doing that.
I'm singing about Sakuda and Kikuta. It's a tribute to them and their incredible bout that's going to be happening Stage AE.
Well, speaking of incredible bouts, the return of the king of the Altoona amateurs, Cody Lenny Karlheim, is making his return. He's not coming back to Altoona. Oh, no. He's coming to Pittsburgh.
That's right.
He's coming to Pittsburgh. Lenny Karlheim was called out by Rich Canalina saying, you know, everyone wants to see us fight, let's see us fight. So Lenny could have made his return in Complete Devastation or, you know, whatever other promotion was going to be in Altoona. But no, he's taking it to Pittsburgh. He's getting his tune-up fight just like he wanted. I have no idea if he's going to fight Canalina, but I think this makes a pretty bold statement on Lenny's part. Mm-hmm. That he's going to come to Canalina's backyard. He's going to make the challenge. Frankly, I'd love to see Lenny and Canalina fight.
Of course.
So
they both would.
Tobias Taylor. He's absolutely no slouch. He trains out of Rising Dragon MMA, fighting out of Cleveland, Ohio.
No slouch at all. Record of 3-0.
Now here's what makes this fight really, really interesting.
Okay.
Tobias Taylor's fighting out of Cleveland, Ohio. Ohio has their amateur system is a lot more advanced than I think Pennsylvania's are. Amateurs can main event entire cards. Amateurs don't have limits on strikes. They're just not getting... It's pro MMA, only they're not getting paid.
Right.
So, I mean, Lenny Karlheim, when he fought Zachary Hoy, Complete Devastation 6, I mean, that fight went to the ground. Something in Lenny's head automatically clicked. Stop hitting him in the head, hit him in the chest. Because the Pennsylvania amateurs can't hit to the head once the fight hits the ground.
That's right.
So, I mean, could that work to against Taylor? Or it could, you know, give him a killer instinct that Lenny might not be ready for. It's those kind of questions, Drew.
Well, Lenny's got to be prepared for something like that.
Well, Mike Kessler talked to Lenny Karlheim himself, and Kess texted me. He's like, Lenny's ready.
So Kess talked to Lenny?
Kess talked to Lenny.
Are we going to have that interview?
Hopefully. Was
this a sit-down interview?
I believe so.
Were they on camera when it happened?
I believe so.
We weren't there?
We weren't there. Mike Kessling is stealing all the glory. He so loves the Cage Nation so much that he's trying to get out there and get it for himself. You believe that? We made the man for the Cage Nation, and he does that to us. I'm farting in his car.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Cass here with Cage Nation. I'm not in the studio because they don't let me in the studio for some reason. But hey, I'm here to bring you an interview with Cody Karlheim. Now, Cody's coming off a major knee injury, which we'll get to a second during the interview. And this is his first fight back against Tobias Taylor. Now, both guys are 3-1 heading into this Saturday's Gladiator the Cage event. And I think it's going to be a pretty good fight. I think both guys bring a pretty good game to the cage. So check out this interview that we did with Cody.
I started in MMA kind of sporadically, actually. My brother one day said he knew a guy that he worked with that trained fighters and asked me if I would like to try it out, and I said, sure, why not? So I went and I tried out Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I fell in love with it and never looked back.
Walk me through your first couple of fights, like the fights you've had so far. Just walk me through who you fought, how that ended up.
My first fight, it was against Steve Paw. That was a quicker fight. I went out, ended up dropping him. I was able to get on top of him and finish with a mounted triangle. Second fight was Jonas Rubiano. That was actually a loss. It was a tough 3-round fight. I got knocked down in the first round and then came back bloody and fought till the end of 3 rounds. Third fight was Zach Hoy. I had dropped him at the end of the first round, and then the second round came out and ended up submitting him with another triangle. And then my last fight, which would have been over a year ago, was against Derek Hayes, and he picked me up over his head and slammed me, and then I ended up getting the armbar off it. So.
Now, you got hurt while training. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it was just kind of a freak thing. It was one of those. It was just one of those crappy things where I was training wrestling, and it was actually at the end of the workout. It was me and one of my buddies, training partners, who was a wrestler. I was working out with him, and we were working out for a good solid hour. Nothing wrong, and then. We were about done, and he said, "You want to go?" He said, "You want to do one more?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Let's do one more." And that one more ended up being the last one for a while.
So what happened? What was your?
I tore my ACL and my meniscus. The MCL was all right for the most part, and the PCL was all right. But it was mainly the ACL and the meniscus that got torn.
Have you changed your fighting style because of it?
No, not because of it. Not by any means because of it. My knee feels 110%. My knee feels better now than it did before surgery. So not because of the surgery have I changed fighting styles.
Do you think it's going to affect your career in the long run at all?
I don't because the doctor, I made sure to research my doctors. I made sure he was a very good knee surgeon. I looked for a good PT. I made sure the PT was good. I had, it was long, but I had a good rehab. Everything went well, so I don't see there being any problems with it. Because actually, before I tore my ACL, I was having knee problems with my meniscus, and I haven't had any since after they fixed it. So.
How's it feel going back into the cage, especially in Pittsburgh, because you're going into the Stage AE, which is a ridiculously awesome venue. So how is it going to feel going into that venue for your first fight back after this injury?
Oh man, going to Stage E for my first fight. First of all, the first fight overall feels surreal almost. It feels like it's not gonna. It's just been so long. It kind of feels weird that it's here already. And the fight at Stage AE, like I love getting pumped up with more people. It's like the more people, the better. And that big venue like that, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's a great setting. Now, who do you want to fight going forward after this?
Who would I like to fight? Realistically, anyone. We're the most experienced, best guys around. I want to get experience with those guys. Rich Canalina had called me out and said a bunch of stuff about me. I have no problem taking that fight. I don't know what his plans are, but
yeah, that's the one that got called out in person, went to Albert and I specifically, and then after that, he went on Facebook and did all that. So
yeah, I'm not really sure where it came from. I guess I haven't fought for over a year, so I guess it's cool that he's still thinking about me after I've been out for a year, but. Hey, whatever, man. I'll take the fight. I wanted to make sure my knee was healthy at the time when he called me out, but now it's healthy, more than healthy. I'm more than happy to take that fight. He has a lot of experience. He's good. That's what I'm looking for.
Now, going into Saturday, and you'll probably get asked this again when we're at the event, but what's your plan? How are you taking this? What's your preparation for the fight? How are you going to go in against your opponent?
Such as what?
Like your mindset, your fight, your plan.
I'm not going to give my plan away.
Well, not specifically,
yeah,
but like
mindset-wise, just knowing that I'm finally healthy. I've had probably the best training camp I've ever had. I've been busting my butt since I got hurt. Just coming back and just going in there 100% knowing that I'm not going to lose.
And there you have it. Now, Cody, or Lenny as we know it, I think he has something going here. I cannot wait for this fight on Saturday, and of course we're going to be there for it. And I hope you guys are going to be there too. And if not, I think Albert may have mentioned it, you can get it online. So make sure you do that. If you can't be there, get it. Check it out. It's going to be awesome. Back to you guys in the studio.
You guys a little history on Lenny Carlheim, because I know a lot of our guys are watching out of Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Lenny Carlheim was poised to get a title shot against Zachary Schultz at Complete Devastation MMA 8. Lenny Carlheim probably had one of the worst injuries that a pro athlete can face. I mean, tendons in his knee just exploded. So he couldn't fight. So Rich Catalina steps up, gets that title shot. Lenny Carlheim has been out for probably the better part of a year. You know, he's just been rehabbing the knee.
But we've been waiting for his return with bated breath.
Oh, yes. I mean, we talked about Complete Devastation MMA 9. I mean, Lenny's ready.
Right.
But Jason Dignan is also not one to let his guys go in half-cocked.
Right.
So, you know, they just don't let their guys go in there and do what they got to do. But now Lenny's ready. He's gotten the blessing. He's gotten the okay. We got a lot of good things coming for Lenny Carlheim versus Tobias Taylor. Taylor, I think, is coming from a really good camp. This is going to be a featherweight bout that no one's going to really want to miss.
And by the way, I was told we keep mentioning Jason Dignan. You are aware he wants a Cage Nation T-shirt, right?
We might have to make that happen.
All
right. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back from Cage Nation TV, we're going to be taking a look at the heavyweight title fight with Clark Young. We're also going to be looking at our main card, and then we still got the main event of Cody No Love Garbrandt versus Dominic the Honey Badger Mazzata coming up right here on Cage Nation TV.
Stick around, it's coming up next.
Since the dawn of furniture, there has been only one way to keep an infant from rolling off a couch or chair, and that is unsafely cramming cushions against the piece of furniture and hoping the baby doesn't work him or herself under them. Until now. Introducing the Zoster. The Zoster is a revolutionary infant safety product that easily wraps around a cushion to keep your baby from rolling off a couch or chair. The Zoster is made with a fleece material complete with a waterproof underneath to keep various liquids away from your upholstery. The Zoster is currently available in solid colors and pattern designs. You can order the Zoster online today at thezoster.com.
Welcome back to this special edition of Cage Nation TV, our preview episode for Gladiators of the Cage, North Shore's Rise to Power 4. Why is it I want to say Road to Glory?
Well, I mean, because it practically is a road to glory. I mean, with the main event that we've got, the fights in the undercard, and the fights in the main card, I mean, there is glory to be had all around. So, I mean, is Route 22 the road to glory? Quite possibly. But
look at you covering for my mistakes.
That's how good partners work.
Appreciate that. A little late birthday present there.
Right. So, North Shore's Rise to Power 4, we got some huge cards. I mean, we talked about an explosive undercard. Amateur fights that just are great. I mean, that's just all you can really say about them. The amateur card is being capped off with an amateur main event rule that I think is just fantastic. We've got not just a main event rule, not just a heavyweight main event rule. We have a heavyweight title fight amateur main event. Our friend Clark Young, who almost killed me, and I know I tell this story a lot, but he almost made me dead by throwing Adam Smith Urbany around
and almost knocking you off the tree stand.
Exactly. I almost died, but it's okay because Clark and I we're good buddies now. Not that we weren't back then, but
so you think.
Is he gonna finish the job, Drew? Is that what you're saying?
He's gonna be taking on Steve Mowry.
Okay, so I think in all of our time,
I don't know. I mean, God, you know, like the guy you seem to get along with the guy. I don't think he's gonna kill you.
I get along great with Clark Young. He's a great guy.
Clark Young's awesome, dude.
I'd let him babysit my cat.
Would you?
Oh, yeah. And then I'd take him through my hometown and be like, okay, he needs hit in the face, he needs hit in the face, he really needs hit in the face.
Oh, if I could only do that.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
I'd lay waste to half the town.
Exactly. So Clark Young, who was one of the few men heavyweights I think we've ever seen fight, and, you know, it's Clark, Adam Smith Urbany, a couple other guys we've seen fight, he's taking on Steve Mowry.
Right.
So, an occasion this momentous, we saw Clark Young fight O.J. Vickers at North Shore's Rise to Power 2. What an incredible fight that was. So now Gladiators of the Cage is saying, you know what, we're going to take this heavyweight guy, we're going to put him in the amateur main event, and we're going to make it a title fight. Title fights are always something to watch.
Now, Steve Mowry.
Yes.
Let's talk about him for a little bit.
Well, Steve Mowry is a giant. He's standing 6'9", clearly has a height advantage. Weight advantage, not so much. Clark Young is usually weighs in at 260. Mowry comes in at 240. So Mowry's a little taller and slender, but Clark Young is just a little more sturdy for heavyweight. Regardless, Clark Young has no problem taking someone's vertical base away from him. I've never seen Steve Mowry fight. I know he's from Butler, Pennsylvania. Trades at Demco Martial Arts. 4-0-0.
He's got the 81-inch reach advantage in this fight as well.
Did you just pull that number out arbitrarily?
No, it's written down there.
Look at that. All right. Well, no. Clark Young has a 73-inch reach. So,
Clark Young is a 73-inch reach.
So there's an 8-inch reach advantage.
Right.
Okay. 8 inch is quite a big deal. You figure, how long's my arm here? I think you've got a reach advantage over me, so I mean you're gonna be able to pepper those strikes a little bit better. Yeah. See, there's a reach advantage.
I decide to punch my armpit, yeah.
Right. But see, OJ Vickers had a little bit of a reach advantage too, and that didn't help him at all.
No.
I mean, the fight was going OJ's way until Clark Young took the fight to the ground, and on the ground all things are equal. Heavyweight fights are great to watch. I mean, throughout the history of combat sports, we've always looked forward to heavyweight fights. We loved Mike Tyson's fights, heavyweight fights. Muhammad Ali fought at heavyweight. Clark Young versus Steve Mowry, the amateur main event for a title.
It is not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. So, could size play an advantage here?
Oh, absolutely.
We'll have to find out.
But see, we've seen Clark Young, and again, Steve, I'm not showing disrespect to you. I just haven't had the pleasure of your fights, but at 4-0-0, clearly you're doing something right.
Yeah.
We've seen Clark Young do just about everything. I mean, we've seen him use heavy-handed strikes. He strikes like nobody's business. He throws knees, he throws hands, he does very, very well. But we've also seen him take the fight to the ground and submit guys.
Right.
So Clark Young is a well-rounded individual who does very, very well. Steve Mowry, clearly, Rich Miller doesn't put guys up against each other just because he can.
Right.
So Rich Miller puts on quality fights. That's just the way Rich does it. So
exactly.
If Clark Young drew Steve Mowry is clearly a threat and clearly a challenge. And Gladiators of the Cage are delivering a main event title fight. Amateur main event title fight. Heavyweight.
All right.
So now, Drew, we're getting into the pro card.
We're getting into the nitty-gritty, my friends. And this is what brings us to the dance.
We wouldn't watch fights if they weren't excellent. So Gladiators of the Cage always handpicks, they select, they choose, they put together these amalgamated fights of just excellent warriors.
And again, they just don't be like, okay, you and you. They study, they put these together for a reason, and they're damn good at it, too.
In the grand history of mixed martial arts, Drew, I've seen fights from the early to mid 90s where guys were just thrown in the card because they showed up with their gear.
Right.
Sometimes those fights turn out to be very, very boring. I have yet to see Gladiators of the Cage do that. Every matchup that Gladiators of the Cage has done has made sense to me. And made sense in a big way. One of their perennial pro fighters is Jason the Whip Willett.
Right.
Willett, 4-3. The man's a bruiser. They call him the Whip because he has a real frenetic style. He gets in there, he rushes, he throws strikes, but they're not like crazy strikes.
Right.
They're really focused. It's like a laser-like focus. It's just rapid-fire laser focus. That's what Jason Willett does. And Jason the Whip Willett has always done just that. He's gone in and he's gotten the job done more often than not. He's fighting Myron Baker. Myron Baker coming to us all the way from
Columbia,
Maryland. Everything about these guys is dead even. They're just about the same age. They're both standing at 5'9", 5'8", 145 pounds.
They're pretty evenly matched.
They're evenly matched. So again, Rich Miller not putting together mismatched fights.
Right. I mean, it's definitely the tail of the tape. If you see the tail of the tape, they are extremely evenly matched. Now, Myron Baker with a 2-3 record, Jason the Whip Willett with a 4-3 record.
Now, Baker, of course, training out of Noel Smith Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So, I mean, right away, when your flagship school is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu academy, you assume he's got a very, very good ground base. Right. Willett has a very good striking base. We've seen that. But we also know that Willett's no slouch on the ground. So, all things being relative, Rich Miller being the matchmaking genius that he is, I think this is going to be another one of those fights where we're not going to know where the fight's going to land. We're going to see the frenetic style from Jason Willett. We're going to see Baker introduce himself to the Pittsburgh fight scene. And, we're going to have the makings of another great fight. And either way, one of the guys is going on to another great matchup for Gladiators of the Cage.
And we can't wait to see it. It is going to be an epic confrontation.
Absolutely.
Speaking of epic confrontations, my friend, we are up to, what is it? This is the...
co-main event.
This is the co-main event, and this is a title fight, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Chris Dempsey is a dual title holder for Gladiators of the Cage.
Right.
He won the light heavyweight championship against Louis the Beast Rumsey. Remember how I said I wasn't sure if I've ever seen light heavyweights fight?
You've seen it.
I've seen it. It was Chris Dempsey versus Louis the Beast Rumsey.
Yep.
His next fight, he turns around and beats Tenye Skinny Man Dixon for the middleweight championship.
Right.
Now, Chris Dempsey, of course, being a more of a middleweight than he is a light heavyweight, he's been defending his light heavyweight crown. Of course, he's coming up against Muhammad Abdullah. Abdullah.
I believe that's how you pronounce it. Yes.
Okay. Abdullah training out of Detroit, Michigan, up in the neck of the woods with our friend Billy the Cycle Ward. I don't know if they trained together, but I mean that's where Billy's from. So he's coming from the Motor City, making that long trip to Pittsburgh. He's got to pass through 3 different states?
Got to.
Just to get to Pittsburgh. But I mean that really kind of says what kind of dedication a man's got to fighting. So the stakes are already high once it's a title fight.
Right.
Once we say title fight, the stakes are like 9 times higher. The fights are just amped up.
Oh, exactly. Once you put gold on the line, it makes the bout even more interesting.
Absolutely. So Dempsey's got experience. Dempsey's got 9 pro fights.
Right.
Winning 8 of them. Abdullah's got an undefeated record. So Abdullah's a little bit taller. He's got a little bit of a reach advantage. But I've seen Dempsey fight taller guys. I've seen him fight taller and wider guys. Of course, his last time he fought, he won the fight by North-South choke. It was a great summer for the great winter for the North-South choke. We saw Omo Osagi pull it off, and then a week or 2 later,
I say and no more than about 2 weeks later,
Chris Dempsey pulls off the North-South choke. Chris Dempsey fights out of the Mat Factory, and I mean this has been a big couple months for the Mat Factory. Of course,
it has.
Of course, teammate Dominic Mazzata, and we're going to talk all about that later. But then Chris Dempsey's not slacking either.
Right.
So they've been going off, they've been training, they've been hitting the mats hard. Chris Dempsey and Dominic Mazzata, I think, are 2 just perennial main eventers. I think no matter what promotion they land in, they're going to be main eventers. Chris Dempsey is young enough, he's strong enough, he's also skilled enough that I think it's just a matter of time before we see him, teammates. I mean, quite obviously, Muhammad Abdullah could fight right behind him.
Right.
But I think these are the kind of fights that the main events of regional shows, co-mains and main events of regional shows, are the guys who end up just making a huge splash. I have no prediction to make on this one. I mean,
we haven't made any predictions on any of these.
No, but I mean,
they're unpredictable.
I mean, the tail of the tape really says a lot.
Yeah.
Abdullah's putting a undefeated record. I mean, clearly he's got the chops to end up in Gladiators of the Cage.
Sure.
And he's fighting against the middleweight champion in Chris Dempsey. Title fight should just fantastic.
It's just going to be a great bout all around. Plus, I mean, and if you've never seen a Chris Dempsey fight, holy crap, what are you doing? Somehow you got to log on to YouTube, check out this guy. He's an incredible, incredible talent.
And it's kind of funny you say that because, I mean, I tried to put together a Chris Dempsey highlight video from whenever he was fighting Rumsey, and I could hardly find anything.
Really?
Yeah. And then I see Chris Dempsey and Louis Rumsey fight, absolutely blown away.
Sure.
Like, this kid is highlight reel material up and down the board. And I couldn't find anything until that fight. That was absolutely incredible. So now, again, Gladiators of the Cage is not a mismatch. Muhammad Abdullah, clearly coming to Pittsburgh, all the way from the Motor City. And Michigan has got a great MMA scene. They do. They have a great regional MMA scene. So clearly, for Abdullah to be called up to Pittsburgh, clearly he's made some waves over in Michigan.
Right. Well, this is going to be an excellent bout.
Absolutely.
And of course, that leads us to our main event. And what a main event this is going to be. People have been. It took a while to get, let's just say. But when it was officially got, the fight scene in Pittsburgh, just a tremendous cheer, a noise rose up from them.
Let me take you to the closing moments of the main event of North Shore's Rise to Power 3. It was Dominic Mazzata. He just won. And, there's the congratulations. Hey, you did a great job. And then the next thing you know, someone had jumped the cage, had snuck in between cornermen and seconds. And the next thing we know, Dominic Mazzata is like going face to face, forehead to forehead with this guy. Like, I had no idea who he was until someone said, hey, this is who that is. But I mean, Dominic Mazzata and the gentleman who would later be discovered as Cody Garbrandt, they were ready to throw bombs right there in the cage.
Exactly. But
the both of them are professional enough to know that had fists been flying at that particular moment, I mean, the state would have had fines all out the tuchus.
Exactly. So cooler heads prevailed.
Cooler heads prevailed then.
Yes.
So then, of course, Facebook being your source of accurate news for everything, that's where things started talking. Cody No Love Garbrandt, of course, he wants to fight Dominic Mazzata, or else he wouldn't have jumped the cage.
Right.
Dominic Mazzata wants to make it happen. Well, first it started with, Cody No Love Garbrandt's exclusive to Pinnacle. Dominic Mazzata is exclusive to Gladiators of the Cage. Well, we can't make this work because we don't know what promotion's going to fight for. And started loyalties were called into question. Eventually, Cody Garbrandt gets on Facebook and says, Robert Joseph, promoter of Gladiators of the Cage, I will fight Dominic Mazzata for $1 and $1 to win as long as I get ticket sales because I want to fight this guy that bad. Robert Joseph, Rich Miller are guys who make fights happen.
Right.
So then it was signed. Our buddy Jim Ajay from Steel City Magazine. I mean, we all just got together. We were all buzzing about this.
It was
we were just waiting for it to happen.
Yep.
So it happens, Drew. It gets signed. Cody No Love Garbrandt is taking on Dominic Mazzata in the main event of Gladiators.
The Honey Badger.
The Honey Badger is taking on Dominic Mazzata in the main event of Door Source Rise of Power 4.
Yes.
Cody Garbrandt, of course, being a staple for the Pinnacle FC promotion. Dominic Mazzata being a franchise fighter for Gladiators of the Cage. This is one of those main events why Pittsburgh is all about this fight. Two guys who are fighting out of two very, very prominent camps. We're just coming together. Cody Garbrandt fighting out of Team Alpha Male.
Yes.
Team Alpha Male is the team that Uriah the California Kid Faber fights out of. Out of a UFC fighter, former UFC bantamweight champion, Uriah the California Kid Faber has Team Alpha Male. Cody Garbrandt was accepted as a walk-on for Team Alpha Male. So that, in and of itself, says something.
Oh, exactly.
And I think he does a lot of training out of the Pittsburgh Fight Club.
Okay.
The same gym that Jamie Chesney. I could be wrong about that. Cody Garbrandt's 22 years old, standing 5'7". This fight will be at bantamweight. Cody Garbrandt's got a 68-inch reach, and he's 2-0. Do you know Cody Garbrandt has fought someone that you and I know, and won out in Ohio?
Who is that?
Tyler the Daywalker Saltzman.
Ah.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to post a link to the video here. What an incredible fight that was. I mean, because we know what kind of presence Tyler's got.
Exactly. I mean, we've dealt with him before.
Absolutely. So Cody Garbrandt goes out there and wins a hard-fought fight against the Daywalker. Dominic Mazzata, clearly no slouch. I mean, that head kick KO of Jeremiah Yeager, we're going to talk about that till we're dead.
Kick heard round the berg.
Absolutely. Mazzata, 26, standing 5'7", fighting bantamweight, 67-inch reach advantage, an inch different in the reach, but I think these guys are so adept at ground fighting, I can't really say that's going to be a huge tipping point.
And Mazzata, of course, at 3-0.
Yeah, and I think all three of those victors have been at Gladiators of the Cage.
If I recall correctly, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then Mazzata's fighting out of the Mat Factory. So, it's like the Hatfields and the McCoys here in Pittsburgh. We got Mazzata, the Gladiators of the Cage camp. We've got Cody No Love Garbrandt, his half of Pittsburgh, just ready to tear down. Regardless of what happens in MMA for the rest of this year, this fight, this main event, I know I'm putting a lot of pressure on it, this main event is going to set the tone for the rest of Pittsburgh MMA for the rest of the year. Because it's been so built up, this fight's got so much tension behind it, there's so much bad blood between the two,
right,
that this main event, I wouldn't say exclusively, but I think this main event is going to get the snowball rolling for a lot of MMA in Pittsburgh. And I think all the roads are going to come through this main event and are going to branch out from it. I think this is going to be one of those throttle points that a lot of fights are going to be made and broken on.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is why you cannot miss this event. I mean, we've run down pretty much the majority of the card, and of course, this tremendous main event, Cody No Love Garbrandt, Dominic the Honey Badger Mazzata. Get your tickets now. They are selling fast.
I want to say they might already be sold out. I'm not exactly sure, but I think they might already be sold.
Well, you can check.
But if not, where's the iPay-per-view? You can check it out online.
Where can they go to find out about tickets?
Right here.
Right. I don't have it.
Look, on the screen, right here.
Oh, there's nothing there.
Well, there is now.
Whatever. I don't know what you're pointing to.
Okay, fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, we look forward to seeing you at Stage AE in Pittsburgh on March 15th.
Yes.
March 15th.
Well, if you're there March 14th, you're going to be there a day early, so you definitely get a good seat.
So we look forward to seeing you all there. Drew, I, Mike Kessling, Rob Lynn will all be there.
Rob Lynn making his debut for Cage Nation TV.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to that.
The Cage Nation will be out in tow. A lot of great fights. We want to know what you guys think. We want to know what you guys thought. We're going to be tweeting all throughout the event, so I mean, there's a lot of great opportunities. And
we figured out where we're eating yet?
No, not yet.
We're going to Bettis' Grill? Tilted Kilt?
Perhaps.
Permanis?
But most importantly, we want to thank everyone involved in the Pittsburgh fight scene for letting us be a part of that scene.
Absolutely.
We're just a bunch of guys who like watching MMA, and for everyone to kind of welcome us into their boys club, it's a true honor to us. So, March 15th, Stage AE, Gladiators the Cage, North Shore's Rising Power 4. Ladies and gentlemen, if you miss it, I do not feel bad for you.
If you miss it, you're missing out. However, I'm sure it will be broadcast on Root Sports.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll get you the official date as to when that will be broadcast. Just check our Facebook, check our Twitter, and we'll let you know that night. We should have it. We should have that information, shouldn't we?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we'll text it out as soon as we find out.
Most
We'll
definitely.
tweet it out. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Cage Nation TV. We thank you very much for watching. For Drew Shannon, the Prime Minister of Seoul, I am Albert Cameron, your elected official. This has been Cage Nation TV.
Yes! 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 Yes!
The next time we'll see you guys will be for the Gladiators of the Cage North Shore's Rise of Power 4 recap.
Yes!
For the recap. We'll see you guys next week.
Let's go. Ah.